Here we are, module 3. I hope you're staying with me so far. Search question creation. Might think, how much could you talk about this? This is probably, I think, the most important part of searching. So I'm going to try to go as quickly as I can, but I can't emphasize enough how important this step is for any and all searches. But essentially, we're going to be talking about how do you figure out the search concepts from your research topic or question. Like, what I mean by that is like what you're actually going to put in these databases, what words you're going to search for. That's going to determine how successful your searching is. So first thing you need to do is really like translate your research question, if you're at that phase, or your topic, to a search question or search concepts. You need to drill down to the minimum things you can search for, and you need to start thinking conceptually instead of in sentences, because sentences don't work in these databases. Google Scholar can handle that, but the rest of them no. And you need to start thinking about what are things you can actually search for and what you're going to read for. So what I mean is like some topics are really challenging to search for. Wellness is one of those. Or anything related to like an outcome, like you're trying to reduce stress in students and you have this program that you want to run in this classroom. Searching for reducing stress could really bias your search if you think about it, your results. If you say like, find in grade 7 students with this kind of programming reduces math anxiety, type that in. Well, yeah, it's going to give you all the things that says that this reduces math anxiety, but you're going to miss all the things that might say, actually, in this context, it increases anxiety, or it has all these other outcomes that you didn't know about because you searched for the outcome. So just, it's important is what I'm getting to. So an example, what are the social and educational benefits of classroom animals for middle school students? It's a topic. That's where we're at. And I searched for all of the big nouns in that topic. I am looking for the overlap, like it has to talk about everything. If I put it all in there, I am going to get 0 results. And that is because it is too many concepts. We need to think about like what are the minimum things to search for that will make things relevant, but I'm still going to get stuff. This is too much stuff for these databases to search on. You can't search on every noun in your topic or sentence usually. So there's 2 strategies I have to help figure out what those minimum things are to search for. One is this PCC framework. Population, who? Who are you interested in? Admin, students, what kind of students? Concept, so this is the what. This is the program. This is the theory, the what, the concept, the main thing that you're into. And then sometimes there's a context or a setting around it that influences things. So in this case, students grade 7 to 9, classroom animals, and within the context, not really setting for this one at all, but looking kind of for emotional and educational and social benefits, something like that. So kind of within that context, that's kind of an outcome-y. So this one kind of also doesn't really have a context. That's why I put it in italics. Or this framework not working for you. Just think concepts, boxes. Concept 1, concept 2, sometimes concept 3. Most searches have 2 to 3 concepts. 4 is a ton. Very rarely see 4 concepts and the search works. 2 to 3. Concept 1, again, I'm thinking population and setting, like middle school students in grades 7 to 9. The what, classroom animals, maybe concept 3, that emotional and educational social benefit. Usually what ends up here is the nouns in your kind of sentence, in your topic or your research question. Usually you got a who and a what. Usually you have a population and a concept. Those are usually your minimums, most searches. Sometimes you get that kind of context or setting, or there's some other sort of really important variable. And sometimes you do search the outcomes. You just got to be careful with it. And the more concepts you add, if you move from 2 to 3, you're going to increase this thing called precision. So the minimum searchable concepts for this one is a who and a what. Middle school students, classroom animals. That means I am scanning those abstracts, those titles and abstracts, reading for the rest of those ideas. Is this about an educational or emotional benefit? Is this a formal animal program? What kind of school? Make sure it's relatable enough. I'm going to be doing that scanning manually for the rest. So I mentioned this thing called precision just a little while back. Adding concepts increases precision. What I mean for that in searching. So pretend, stay with me here, that the green squares are relevant. I want the green squares. Those are articles that are relevant to my topic. I do not want the pink dots. Might be cool for someone else, garbage, irrelevant for my current project. This is literature landscape. Pretend. If I do a search and it gets everything in the pink circle here, everything, this would be a high sensitivity search. The pro, we just want to think about, like, what's the pro? You can pause me if you want to think for a second. A pro is that you got all the green squares. You have them all. You have all those outliers over here and all, all the ones out there. You got them all. The con, if you want to think for a sec, pause me, is that you've got a lot of pink dots to get through. It's high sensitivity with this one. So that's a big con, is you're gonna have to sift through a lot of irrelevant items to get those like green square gems. And there's smaller circle here, smaller pink circle. Pro, pause me if you want. Pro is there's very little pink dots compared to green squares. Less irrelevant stuff to sift through. Con, you're missing a lot of green squares. So, to find this balance between precision and sensitivity, it's determined by your question and why you're doing the search. If you just need to find some stuff, 1 to 3 articles, something like that, go for precision. Don't make yourself read through tons and tons of irrelevant stuff. You can not read everything on your topic, and that's okay. If you're doing a really comprehensive search, so you're preparing for, I don't know, a thesis, or you're doing a research project, or you're doing any kind of like formal review, like a systematic scopium review, well, name of the game is sensitivity there, because you cannot afford to miss some big articles. You can't. So you are going to be sifting through more irrelevant stuff. So what your question and why you're doing the search, the objective, the point of it determines where it falls on that precision sensitivity balance. And there's no such thing as getting both. You can't get all those green squares and not see the pink dots. That doesn't exist. Okay, questions to ask yourself when you're finding your concepts. Who is being studied? Who do you want this to be on? What is being studied? What's the main concept, phenomena, exposure, problem, assessment, prevention strategy, program, situation? What's the what? That's the who and the what. Where is it? Online and community, in a school? What kind of setting are we dealing with? Is there a main outcome? What are you hoping to measure, improve, accomplish? Is there a type of study that's really important? Sometimes you only want qualitative. You want to be hearing from people and their experiences. Sometimes that's really important. Sometimes not. But those are some questions you can ask yourself to figure out what to search for, like your main concepts. Okay, practice time. So I'm going to pop over here. I'm going to pull it up in a different screen in a second. You can pause me if you want some seconds, but try to read this and see if you can figure out who and what in this abstract here. All right, so I got it up. I'm going to make it a bit bigger for you if I can, and just pause here if you want, but your task is to figure out the who and the what from looking at this abstract. Okay, so here's a who, school setting, children and adolescents, 4th to 8th grade classes. That's how this language in this abstract is describing that population. You can see already we have a bit of a variety. Then the what, they're using animal-assisted therapy. This one's really looking at animal-assisted therapy here, AAT, animal-assisted therapy dog. Again, we're seeing some synonyms show up in just a few sentences here for the same concepts. Another practice. For an example topic, what's the intersection between MTSS and belonging and inclusion for students in K to 12? Again, I'm going to pull it up. It's clearer to read here. Pause me if you want a second to try to figure out if you can find the who and the what in this abstract. So here would be the who is really described as a setting most of the time. Secondary schools, classroom settings, secondary school setting, secondary teachers, and then a what, MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support, MTSS models. So again, getting some synonyms. The point of doing this is that sometimes when you're really stuck trying to figure out what your concepts are, but you found something you like, look at it with that kind of lens. Like, what's the who and the what in this? Like, that can help you sometimes articulate like what it is you're looking for, so you can find more like that one you like. It's just another way. It's also great for finding synonyms, which we'll talk about later. Okay, so with the second example for looking at MTSS and belonging inclusion for students K to 12, so population, students K to 12, the concept MTSS, and again, this kind of nebulous, not sure if we're going to put it in, it's not a setting, but with really looking for that idea, it's more of an outcome again of like belonging and inclusion. So I'm thinking about like kind of loosely within context, kind of. But we know we want the articles to be about belonging and inclusion. So again, that one's one I'd probably put on italics. I'd probably start with just the two. K to 12 students, MTSS, and I'm reading for that idea of belonging, inclusion, the types of MTSS being run, how it's being run, etc., etc. And if I look at that and it's too many, because there's tons on there, then yes, I will be adding a third concept to increase precision. But I always like to start with minimum concepts and be like, whoa, 6,000, too many. Throw on the concept instead of starting with 0 and be like, oh, shoot, I guess there's nothing on my topic. When there might have been. It's just like really hard actually to search for belonging and inclusion because there's so many ways that can be described in literature. So in summary, we search concepts, not sentences. Usually a population who, a concept what, sometimes a context where, outcome, sometimes there's a third one that can make it in there. You need to think about what you're going to be searching for versus rating for. We use and I'll talk more about Boolean operators and or in a bit. To combine the concepts, we don't look in sentences. And really, it all comes down to sensitive precision. They're at opposite ends, and why you're doing it and what you're doing really determines like where you fall on that balance. That's it for this one. More to come. Questions, comments, love to hear from you.